What's up, everybody? Travis here from Travis.media. So I've been noticing a trend online lately of developers who are either getting burnout or finding what they used to love, coding and building things, now becoming kind of a drag for them, or either getting really stressed out at work and thinking, hey, maybe this career isn't for me. Maybe I should get out of software altogether. If that's you, then this video might help you out. If not, you still might find it informative. But essentially, in this video, I want to talk about how you can stay fulfilled and excited and happy in a software development career long term. Now, there's a number of ways I could approach this. Like, I could tell you things like, hey, make sure you're taking regular vacation. And I don't just mean vacation, I mean like staggered days throughout the year to just get a break. Or I could tell you things like, hey, make sure, whatever coding things you're interested in, make sure you're doing that on the side to keep up the passion and all of that. But I thought I'd take a different approach today. And here's what I want to do. I want to discuss the 3 phases in every software developer's career. So there's 3 main phases in a software development career, and each one has its highs and its lows. So I'm going to go through these 3 today and talk about how to defeat those lows and how to stay excited throughout the whole thing. So stay tuned. Alright, so before we get started, if this is the first time you've seen one of my videos, my name is Travis. I'm a self-taught software developer of like 4 years. And in a nutshell, I love learning from other people. I like hearing other people's stories of how they got into coding and how they're doing. So this channel is basically my way of sharing my experience along the way. If that interests you at all, consider hitting that subscribe button below. Lots of great videos planned for 2020. Okay, so like we said, there's 3 phases in every software developer's career. There's 3 phases, with the 3rd phase, I think, being the most important to maintain consistency. But let's start at phase 1. So phase 1 is, of course, the learning phase. So this phase starts out really exciting. I mean, I look back when I was learning to code, it was so exciting. It was just so neat to realize, hey, I can take this stuff that I always thought was too hard and actually build stuff with it. So this includes like the HTML, the CSS, the JavaScript, building your first websites, building portfolio projects. All of that is so much fun. Okay, and that can take anywhere from like a few months to like even a year. And it's usually filled with a lot of highs, a lot of aha moments. But as you near the end of this phase, you're either at a point where you're thinking about changing careers or you're thinking about getting that first software job. So maybe you're just like out of college and you want to get that software job, or you're a little bit older and you want to switch from this career to a software career. Now, when you get to the end of this phase, that's a scary moment when you realize, hey, in order to get this job, I have to prove that I can code, and I have to go into an interview and they're going to drill me about all this stuff I've just been playing with the past 6 months. So a lot of people quit at this point. A lot of people say, I'm just going to keep it a hobby. I don't think I can really land a job. But then there's the people that say, no, I'm going to keep pressing on, and they get that job. And just a side note here, just a little point of advice here. When you get to that point, you really only have 2 options. You either know somebody that gets you in the door, or you play the numbers game. It's a numbers game. You send out hundreds of resumes, or however many resumes, you send it out to all kind of people, jobs that you think you can do, jobs that you don't think you can do, you send it out, and a number of them will get back to you and will do interviews. Now, you'll bomb some of those interviews, probably the first couple you'll completely bomb them, but it'll be a wonderful learning experience and you will land a job eventually doing that. So when you get to that point where you want to quit, don't. Either know somebody or find somebody to help you get in the door, or play that numbers game until you land the job. But anyway, I don't want to stay there too long. Phase 1 is what it is. That's your learning phase. And then if you keep pressing, you can get into the software career. You can make it a career. Now, that's where phase 2 starts. Phase 2 starts when you land that job. And this is also really, really exciting. First of all, you'll probably get an offer, a salary that's higher than you were making in your previous job. For many of us, much higher than you were making in your previous job. Second, they may hand you your own MacBook or your own equipment to work with. Also, when you get into the job, you actually get to do real production work. So while you were sitting around the house playing around with GitHub or playing with Git, doing commits, you're actually in with other developers working on in a production environment. So maybe your first week, they'll have you push your first changes up. And it's really exciting. You really get to put in motion those things you've been practicing for months. So that's really exciting. You're officially a dev, you're making good money, you got some nice equipment, and it just feels good. And then maybe week 2, they give you some kind of other small thing to work with. And then out of the blue, this always happens, out of the blue, they'll be like, all right, we got this new feature on the application that's it's got a bunch of moving parts and stuff. And we think, Travis, hey, this would be a good first kind of major thing for you to work on. And they drop it in your lap. And you think like, oh man, this sounds kind of hard. I'm kind of worried. You get kind of scared. Maybe you start overthinking things, but you get through it, right? Now what happens is you get something after that. And that's also kind of hard, right? And you make it through it. Then you get something else and it's kind of hard and you make it through it. Now, a lot of people start to feel impostor syndrome at this point, like everybody else seems to be getting it. I'm not getting it. Maybe I'm not a real dev. Maybe I'm not as good as these people. Maybe I can't do this. Don't let that fool you. Just keep pressing on. And I'll tell you why in a minute. Keep pressing on through this stuff. Keep making your commits. Keep finishing your projects. Here's why. Because this is like the training phase. This is the phase that really takes you from that new developer to not a senior level, but to a confident developer. This is the phase that actually gets you in the door for good. So if you can press through all of this kind of hard stuff up front, you eventually get to a point where you kind of settle in. Like they give you stuff and you start to feel more confident, you start to knock it out. Maybe you take on harder stuff. But you don't get stuck. You're challenged, but you've learned enough over time to where you start to feel comfortable as a developer. This is the goal of phase 2, okay? The goal is to take you from that new developer to a comfortable, I can hang with them type of developer. And it takes hard work to get there. And some people don't make it. Some people bail out during that process. But keep pressing on because phase 3 is where you want to be. Now, the thing that ends phase 2 is this. You start to get bored. You may be like, every day I come to work and I'm in C#. I'm sick of doing C#. Or I'm sick of doing the same thing every day. On the side, I got these little React projects or something. I really love to work in React. And I'm just kind of tired of doing this. And you get bored. So once you get to this point, you're settled in, you're feeling confident, you're feeling good as a developer, comfortable. And also you may be getting bored. This is where you move into phase 3. So phase 3 is this period of career-long, ongoing refinement. So you spend all of these hours week after week in a job. This is the period that you say, hey, I'm gonna find something I'm really passionate about. You made it through 1, you learned how to code. You got through phase 2, you're a pretty good developer now. You can basically start applying anywhere you want. You have a job, you're not desperate for money, but this is the period where you decide, hey, what life goals do I want to align my career with? So it might be a cause that you're behind, like this company here. I love what they stand for. I love what they do. I'd love to work for them. So you got a job. You're not desperate. You're not out of money. So apply for that job. And if you get it, great. Move over to that job. Now, perhaps in phase 2, you decided that the raw coding isn't for you. You like management better, so you want to manage coders instead, or maybe you don't like the raw coding and you instead want to be a consultant. You want to help companies move into the cloud, or perhaps you like project management. Phase 3 is where you can shift into something you like more. And this is the phase nobody should burn out. Nobody should be overworked. Nobody should be stressed, because if the job doesn't suit what you want to be moving toward in life in the next 20 or 30 years before your retirement, then you need to make the change. Now, I said that this was ongoing. So if you do have a company you really want to work for and you finally get to that company and you love it and you're doing great, but then, your mindset shifts or you get interested in something else, that's the time where slowly you start to look for these other places. And it's not that you're job hopping. You're not just like, I'm just going to jump from job to job. You're replaceable anyway. I mean, you're a developer. There's lots of developers out there. So this isn't the years, 40 years ago where people got a job and they worked it their whole life and then they retire and blah. This is exciting times. So in this phase 3, to avoid this burnout and avoid all of these things we discussed at the beginning, it should be an ongoing period of refinement. Where do I want to work? What cause do I want to get behind? What do I want to stand for in my life? How can I shift my passion for coding behind something else that I love. That's what phase 3 is. That's the goal you should be working towards. The opportunities are endless, especially in the remote world. Also, since you have a job, it kind of takes the pressure off of interviews and not doing well in a coding interview or something, because you got a job to fall back on. So you have that confidence going into each interview. So again, this is the time that you can really pinpoint that place you want to work. You work there and you're happy and all's well. But the moment that something shifts, don't be afraid to start looking for that next place. And do that throughout your career. Be a developer, work multiple places, work hard, be happy, don't get stressed or burn out. Also, take regular time off. So anyway, I hope this helped. If you're in the second phase and you're kind of just stressed, you're pushing through, you'll get there. You'll get to that point where you start to feel confident and you can shift into phase 3. Phase 3, make it your life call. Make it your own and enjoy. So if this video was helpful, hey, consider again hitting that subscribe button below. Lots of great videos are planned in the next couple of weeks. So, see you in the next video.